Hey guys, welcome back to The Question, where you have the questions and I have the answers. And today's question is, what are my opinions on corporations at Pride? Before we get started, please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe if you're new. I try to put out weekly content about questions people ask me, sometimes life updates, sometimes reviews of books, movies, or TV shows that I have consumed. It's crazy. Sorry for the truck going by. Without further ado, let's get started. So even though Pride Month is over, the struggle is still real for queer people, especially after the Supreme Court ruled that companies are allowed to deny service to queer folks because of their religious beliefs or just because of their moral beliefs or whatever. If you don't know the bullshit that went into that Supreme Court ruling, comment below if you want a video on that separately. This question and this video will touch upon that ruling briefly, but it won't go in depth into the circumstances around it. So if you want that in a separate video, please comment below. This question was actually posed to me. I'm in a group chat of asexuals that I have met at the Creating Change Conference, which, if you don't know, is the it's an annual conference put on by the National LGBTQ Task Force, and this past year celebrated their 50th anniversary as an organization. I think the 25th anniversary of this conference being put together. So I had the privilege of going to that, and I met a bunch of asexuals there that are really cool, and we're out in a group chat together. And after the ruling, it was posed like, what are y'all's opinions on corporations at Pride? Because that in itself is a controversial topic, and the way that Pride has shifted from more of a rite to more of a celebration to now really corporatized has been a topic of controversy and a topic of debate and discussion within the queer community pretty recently. And I thought that I had some pretty good insights, so I thought I'd share them with you all. And also, if you disagree, if you have other insights, if you have things that you think I missed, please comment below, because I would love to hear your thoughts on them. So my thoughts on corporations at Pride is that, on one hand, it's really cool that times have changed enough that corporations see the queer community as profitable. They see the queer community as something that is worth supporting in their endeavor of making money. And that's something I think that we have to lay down first and foremost, is that large corporations are different than small businesses, and large corporations are more focused on making money on that capitalist endeavor, and therefore don't really align themselves with any particular moral ideology. There are, of course, exceptions like Hobby Lobby, Chick-fil-A, other ones that have lobbied certain things and lobbied certain human rights issues, but it's very rare for that to actually affect the way that they accept patrons, the way that they accept hiring practices, because most of it is just for the money. And so the fact that they think that it is profitable to support us, or at least show conditional allyship to us. I say conditional because it's usually only in Pride Month we all talk about how people only turn their shit rainbow, and they have Pride collections, but they don't actually do anything for us the rest of the month. The fact that they're willing to do that shows how far we've come as a community within society, that they now view it as profitable to support us. But at the same time, it is conditional. It only happens in Pride Month. It's only there to be profitable. They don't actually care about us. And that's why it is frustrating to go to a Pride parade and see the majority of the floats, the majority of the vendors, the majority of the people there from a corporation basically using the queer community and using queer and trans struggles as a way to advertise their business. I didn't go to Seattle Pride this year. I went last year, didn't go this year, just because while it was really cool to have some local organizations there, those were cool, the vast majority of the parade were just floats put on by different corporations like T-Mobile. I think AT&T had one, and some others. And it was okay, I didn't come here to see you. I came here to celebrate, how the progress that we've made. I came here to be with other queer people. I don't need you to advertise this phone plan to me when I'm here to celebrate my identity and how far my community has come in being able to have this, you know? They're just kind of using us and profiting off of us, and that's why I don't like corporations at Pride. There are a scant few, I think, that actually do continue to try and support us year round. And so, like, obviously I'm wearing the shirt that comes from Target's Pride collection. I know we've had a lot of controversy over Target and whether they actually support us or not because of their decision to remove certain items from their collection this year. However, I do think corporations like Target are doing better than most in actually showing support year round. As for their Pride collection, they actually hire queer artists and queer creators to make their Pride collection. Same thing with IKEA, and they do have more Pride type items year round. Like the big collection goes out in like May and June, but they do have more but they do have more Pride type items and inclusive items year round. I also love that they have more inclusive Jewish items. They don't just have like Hanukkah things during the winter season. They also have Rosh Hashanah items, Passover items, and that's really rare anywhere else. So I'll always support Target unless they do something egregiously bad. But stuff like that, where like they continue to do things, a little bit of things year round, at least they're trying, you know, and they're actually working with the community so that they know what we want. And uplifting those creators instead of just hiring somebody to put rainbow on something and then throw it out afterwards, you know? But generally corporations I view are bad because they're just tools of capitalism. They exist to profit. They don't exist to really benefit anybody, but they don't exist to harm. They exist for one purpose. And so that purpose does not belong at Pride, I think. That's my opinion. However, the person also asked a follow-up question of how do you think this Supreme Court ruling has changed or will change how corporations interact with Pride? And I think that the Supreme Court ruling is not going to affect it that much, and here's why. Because corporations exist in this kind of weird third space politically, where it's like they can't really be legislated as businesses because they're not confined to just one brick and mortar store. They're not a mom and pop store anymore. They're now large corporations, which most of our laws don't know how to handle or how to tackle, which is why we have big issues with like tech companies and social media companies, because this is unprecedented. We, the founders of this nation, any founder of any nation, never predicted that this would happen, you know? So we didn't come up with legislative tools for this. We don't know how to regulate this or how to think about this. So a lot of the times when it comes to rulings, we fall back on stuff for like small businesses or for certain people, but we don't really know how to legislate corporations yet. And so when we have Supreme Court rulings about freedom of speech, about being able to turn away people, they, I think, usually apply only to small businesses, or at least are taken seriously, or only there for the purpose of small businesses, because small businesses are still run by people that we have to interact with when we go to those stores. And so it's more like a person-to-person connection versus like, if I go to Walmart, I am not meeting the CEO of Walmart. The CEO of Walmart does not know who I am. He does not know who is shopping at his stores, you know, but if I go to like the bodega down the way, the person, it's usually like a family or like close friends running that, and I know the owner of the bodega, you know? And so when they have rulings like that, being like, you can turn people away, it's usually for small businesses, because the CEO of Walmart is not going to put a thing being like, I actually hate queer people, and so I'm going to put a collective thing saying no queer people can shop at Walmart, especially since Walmart also does a Pride collection. They clearly see us as profitable. They want us to shop there. You know, corporations are more focused on the monetary value and being horrible corporations than they are about any kind of moral ideology, aside from Hobby Lobby. But even then, they're not stating explicitly that queer people can't shop at their stores. They're just lobbying against queer people's rights. But they aren't explicitly banning anybody. You know, the purpose to ban customers is usually for small businesses. And that's why I think that corporation, that Pride, isn't going to change based on this new ruling. However, I think we are going to see way more situations like Tennessee build up where people are putting signs in those stores being like, we are not trans friendly, or putting up signs in the store saying we are trans welcoming, or people being like, we don't want you shopping here. I think we're going to see a lot more of that because of this ruling, but on a larger corporation basis, I don't think that they would risk actually banning something, because that would actually put pushback. You know, when it comes to lobbying, it can be done in secret. You know, they're not publicly putting out there that, by the way, we're sending all of your customer money to advocate against gay rights. You know, they're not advertising out there that they are using the money we give them to lobby against affirmative action, you know. But explicitly banning a group of people from a store is something that people can be aware of and can protest against and can boycott against. You know, but it's a lot harder to boycott and raise awareness of lobbying issues because those things are not as public, not as easy to find or read about. So in a way, I think most Supreme Court rulings when it comes to businesses and freedom of speech pertain only to small businesses, because it's a person-to-person interaction, versus large corporations where it's like person to almighty God type interaction, if that makes sense, you know? I feel like large corporations have kind of a parasocial relationship with customers, where like people can be fans of a corporation, but you're never really going to know the people behind it, and the people who are behind corporations never really know about you, versus small businesses are like the artists that you DM for commissions online, you know, where it's like they can't know about you, you can make specific requests or whatever, they have to see your face and know who you are in order to interact with you, because they don't have that like level of distance between the customers they're interacting with. I hope that made sense. I hope that made sense. If you disagree with anything that I said, if you think I forgot something, if you have other opinions, please let me know. I would love to talk about this further, because I think this is a really interesting topic to discuss, and I think this is a really pressing matter, especially as we are living in the like stages of, you know, late stage capitalism, and how that interacts with like activism and stuff. You know, how do you figure out who to support? And then it cuts to the whole question of also like, what can you afford to support? You know, because I would love to not support big corporations. I would love to go to small businesses. However, because they don't have the same like levels of income, because they aren't large corporations, they depend on that money more, and so they charge more for their products, which is fair. However, I don't have that money to give them, and that also complicates things about like activists and how they choose to support people, you know. That being said, I hope you all have a lovely day. It's really nice out and surprisingly warm out. The sun is shining. People are still lighting off fireworks in the morning for some reason. I don't know. So with that being said, be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes. So long, and thanks for all the fish.